Gentlemen, one of the things that we talk about as unplugged men is about maximizing your potential. And it's about winning in life, not just winning in terms of your career. So today I'm going to give you a concept that is going to help you. If it's a mindset that if you adopt, is going to help you tremendously to succeed in all areas of life. I'm going to begin with a paradox. Do you know that the very thing that makes you valuable to an employer may be the very thing that keeps you trapped? Today I'm going to talk about the coffin of comfort. Okay? So you see, gentlemen, if you're good at your job, if you are punctual, if you're obedient, if you're delivering exactly what is expected of you, then you are indeed a good workman. You are useful, you are reliable, and you are dependable. But here is the cruel twist. It is precisely because you are so reliable, it is not in your employer's best interest to move you up or to promote you. This is because you are worth much more where you are right now. This is what we call the prison of competence. The man who is merely good at his work, the man who is satisfied with filling his role, becomes indispensable in the wrong way. He becomes the perfect cog in someone else's wheel or machine. And cogs do not rise, they are replaced. There's an author called Wallace D. Wattles who wrote a book called The Science of Getting Rich. He tells us that you can only advance by being larger than your present place. And he adds that no man is larger than his present place who leaves undone any of the work pertaining to that place. In other words, if you do only what is written in your job description, gentlemen, you will remain exactly where you are. So contrast that with the exceptional man, the man that I call the advancing man. He's the one who exceeds expectations. He's the one who steps beyond his station. He's the one who leads without a title. He does not wait for circumstances, incentives, or recognition. He becomes too large for his environment. He is a lion in a cage. Sooner or later, the cage must expand or he is going to break it. So this is not simply corporate advice, gentlemen. This is actually central to red pill thinking. And red pill truth is about life and power. In Rational Men, Rollo tells us that men are not rewarded for obedience. They are rewarded for mastery, performance, and the capacity to create value. And this is something women that respond to, okay, because of hypergamy. The market also responds to this kind of man. Society responds to men who create value. So if you stay small, if you stay compliant and comfortable, you will be overlooked at work, in relationships, and in life. Think of it this way. Mediocrity is invisible, and exceptionalism cannot be ignored. So, gentlemen, you must strive to be exceptional. That's why I normally tell you, and if you're watching this video, this is something you should ask yourself. What is the one skill that you've mastered to world-class level that if you're thrown in any crowd of professionals, you know that you can hold your own, okay? So advancing requires more than just skill. It requires vision. The man who is sure to advance is the man who knows what he wants to be. He believes that he can be it, and he lives daily as though it were already true. So this is what Wattles means when he writes that God cannot help helping you if you act in a certain way. He must do so in order to help himself. And this is why in an earlier video I said that success has no favorites. Success has requirements. You can make your own success predictable. Just the same way you can predict that this particular YouTube channel is going to grow up. Okay? So Wallace tells you that God himself, for those who believe in God, cannot help to help you, because by helping you, he helps himself. Okay? That is the kind of person you can be. Become so industrious, become so hardworking, that even if God looks around, he says, this is the guy I must put in this particular role. So the universe bends to the will of the man who is too large for his place, because reality itself despises stagnation. And stagnation is one thing I tell you guys every day. Stagnation kills a man. Never be stagnant. And after this video, you should ask yourself, we are now in the month of September. Are you still earning the same amount of money you are earning in January? Are you still relying on the same stream of income, or have you added a new stream of income? These are things you must do as people who are unplugged. You cannot remain stagnant. You must always be improving your position. So let us bring in a French philosopher called Jean-Paul Sartre to this same subject. Jean-Paul Sartre wrote a book called Being and Nothingness. And in that book, Sartre introduces the concept of mauvaise foi. Mauvaise foi is a French word. It means bad faith. And bad faith is the act of self-deception, or of pretending that you are just your role, you're just your function, you're just your job. So you minimize yourself in order to escape the responsibility of freedom, because you can be anything that you actually want to be. But in order to escape that freedom, you say that me, I'm a coder, I'm a developer, I'm a bar attendant, I'm a makanga, and so on. So Jean-Paul Sartre was one time sitting in a restaurant, and he looked at a waiter who was wearing a uniform and who was serving people in that restaurant. And he realized that this person, he's not even a waiter. He's just playing the role of a waiter. But this person can actually convince himself that I'm just a waiter. Okay? So the waiter who convinces himself that he's nothing but a waiter, the bureaucrat who says that I'm only following the rules, these men deny their own capacity for transcendence. They shrink into comfort, and they avoid the anguish of freedom, the anguish of pursuing their other potentialities, the anguish and the effort of maximizing their potential. So Jean-Paul Sartre was a French philosopher. He was a novelist, a playwright. He was also a political activist. He was best known as a leading figure in a movement called Exceptionalism, which was a school of thought that was concerned with human freedom, responsibility, and meaning. As I said earlier, I believe that mauvaise foi was a form of self-deception people use to bury their potential. So don't lie to yourself that you are merely this or that. In the course of my work, I've seen so many men. I'm an IT professional, but I'm an author. Now I'm doing YouTube on the side. I run businesses. I'm also an investor, and so on. I've seen so many young men, bright, capable, and talented. They hide behind their titles. You give someone a task, like a young software developer, and he'll tell you, oh, me, I just write code. This should be done by the analyst. Okay? Or you find a physician who says, I just diagnose. Someone else can deal with the patient spirit. We can do better than that, gentlemen. A man who is wrapping goods, you can find a man wrapping goods, he tosses those goods on the counter as if they are garbage, instead of presenting them as though they are precious commodities. Gentlemen, this is how careers die quietly. This is how decades pass in one position, while others, who are actually less skilled but more expansive, they rise above you. This is mauvaise foi. Okay? So it is something that we need to be vigilant about. Remember, we are born to self-preserve, to avoid risks, and to avoid applying ourselves. So we must be very vigilant and act with intention. So the antidote of this mauvais foi is authenticity. Sartre tells us that man is condemned to be free, which means every choice, every action is a declaration of what a man is becoming. To live authentically is to embrace the burden and power. And this is the burden of performance, as it were. So Carl Newport also wrote a book called or titled So Good They Can't Ignore You. And Newport argues in this book that passion is not discovered but cultivated through the disciplined pursuit of rare and valuable skills. Mastery is not about waiting for permission or chasing passion. It is about becoming exceptional, indispensable in a way that forces the world to respond. The man who commits to his craft with relentless discipline, who transcends his job description, becomes so good they can't ignore him. When I started writing a few years ago and publishing books, many people were wondering, why are you doing this? Why don't you start a car buying and selling business? Why don't you open a consultancy firm and so on? But I had a passion in writing. And initially, the books that I wrote, when I went to bookshops, they rejected my books. They told me that they only deal with publishers. Okay? But I continued working. I continued working in isolation. We became outcome independent, and I was committed to becoming excellent in my craft. 2022, I wrote Unplugged. It became a Nairobi bestseller. And the bookshops that were rejecting my books, they were now looking for me and asking me, please allow us to stock your books. People are asking for your books. That is how you have to move in life, gentlemen. We normally say that nobody cares about your dreams unless and until you win. So you must win. In the 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene warns us that what is praised is rarely what is truly effective. Employers may praise obedience, but they reward vision, they reward leadership and scale. Even women praise kindness, but they respond to strength, ambition, and sovereignty. So do not confuse praise with promotion. So, gentlemen, what do you need to do? So, here is the path. The first thing you must do is you must master your craft. Leave no part of your current work undone. Secondly, you must become more than your role. Stretch yourself, expand yourself, apply yourself, foray into disciplines outside of your comfort zone. I'm an IT professional, but now I'm an author. And because of my interest in evolutionary psychology and the human condition, nowadays I do consulting that involves coaching people, dealing with people who are dealing with depression and serious mental health crisis. Okay? It is because of my interest in those areas. So don't limit yourself. This, of course, does not mean you should do things that you're not qualified to do. But if you take interest in any area of life, you can actually develop your skill level to a professional one. Third thing you need to do is you need to anchor your ambition in vision. Know what you want to become and let that vision guide you on a daily basis. Every day, you must advance closer to your dreams. Okay? Have a vision, write it down, and then every day you must do something that takes you closer to it. Gentlemen, if you're enjoying this video, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it. When you subscribe, you'll always be notified when I drop new content. Also, when you like and share, you help this channel to grow, and more importantly, you help other men to discover the tools that they need to level up. So remember, when one man rises, we all rise. Now let's get back to the video. Gentlemen, you have to remember, you're not robots. You're not cogs. You are men. You are builders. You are creators. You are gods in the embryo. Those who've read Unplugged know this. I talk about this. And even for those who believe in the Bible, or those who read the Bible, Psalms 8:26 declares, ye are gods. This is right there in the Bible. You are not designed to remain confined in small spaces. So the question becomes, will you remain small or will you become too big for your cage? And I'm going to leave you with this challenge. In what ways have you made yourself too comfortable in your role, in your relationship, or in your life? Another question is this that you have to ask yourself: where are you being praised but not advancing? And thirdly, what deliberate step will you take today to become too large for your current place? So drop your answers in the comment section below, and let's see who among you is ready to stop being a cog and start being a creator. I'll see you guys on the next one. Gentlemen, mark your calendars. On Saturday, 4th of October, 2025, we're going to meet at Ololtepe's picnic site in Kiserian. So we're going to be meeting from 4 p.m. Till late, and it's going to be more than just nyama choma. This is going to be about brotherhood, it's about networking, and also having deep conversations with fellow unplugged professionals. So if you've been looking for a space where unplugged men gather together to exchange wisdom, to sharpen each other for the journey ahead, then this is it. So I'm inviting you formally. Come hungry, come ready to network, and come ready to level up. So register or as per the instructions on the flyer on this particular video. And your registration matters because it secures your seat in this particular gathering and it keeps the circle strong. So see you on the Nyama Fest on 4th of October 2025.